the Reacher universe is returning in a really big way this year. Because not only are we getting the 4th season where we will watch Jack Reacher's new adventure, but Frances Neagley, who is my favorite character in this series after Reacher, it is also getting her own show. Honestly, I really love Reacher. The 2nd season is still the strongest season of the show for me. The 3rd season was not bad, but when I compare it to the other seasons, I think it felt a little weaker. That is why I am really looking forward to the 4th season capturing that excitement again. On top of that, this time Reacher will not only face a physically powerful enemy, but a much bigger conspiracy that reaches all the way to the highest levels of the government. First, let's start with the release date, because we no longer need to wait on this. Reacher Season 4 will premiere on Prime Video on the 12th of August, 2026. The season will once again have a total of 8 episodes, and the first 3 episodes will be released on the same day. After that, a new episode will arrive every week, and we will watch the season finale on September 16. Also, Prime Video renewed the series for a 5th season before the 4th season even started. I think this is pretty great news because it shows that Amazon still has serious confidence in the show. So no matter what happens in Season 4, this will not be Jack Reacher's final adventure. The 4th season is adapted from Gone Tomorrow, the 13th Jack Reacher novel published by Lee Child in 2009. As you know, the show does not follow the books in order. The 1st season was adapted from the 1st book in the series, Killing Floor. The 2nd season was adapted from the 11th book, Bad Luck and Trouble. And the 3rd season was adapted from the 7th book, Persuader. Now we are moving to the 13th book. I think Gone Tomorrow is a very interesting choice, because this book has a slightly different structure from the stories we watched in previous seasons. This time, Reacher will not be dealing with a criminal organization in a small town, or enemies targeting his old military unit. He will be pulled into a conspiracy that reaches politicians, the Pentagon, and secret government connections. The story begins with Reacher riding the subway late at night. While Reacher is observing the passengers in the car, he notices a mysterious woman acting extremely nervous. Because of his military background and the training he received, Reacher is very good at reading human behavior, and he thinks the woman is showing signs of a possible suicide bomber. He decides to approach her in order to stop a major attack, but the situation does not unfold the way he expects. Instead of attacking other people, the woman shoots herself. And this is exactly where things get strange, because Reacher cannot understand why the woman was on that subway, and why she was acting that way, if she really wanted to kill herself. Reacher later learns that the dead woman is a Pentagon employee named Susan Mark in the source novel. There are hidden connections between Susan's missing son, a secret military operation from the past, and a very powerful politician. As Reacher begins investigating this death, people from different government agencies appear and tell him to stay away from the case. But we all know that telling Reacher not to investigate something does not stop him. It only makes him more curious. What first looks like a single suicide gradually turns into a deadly game, involving missing people, secret documents, international connections, and a huge secret that someone is trying to protect at any cost. The Gone Tomorrow novel takes place in New York, but it seems the show has moved the story at least partly to Philadelphia, because it was revealed that one of the new characters, Tamara Green, is a detective working for the Philadelphia Police Department, and part of the filming also took place in Philadelphia. Prime Video's official story summary does not clearly name the city, so we cannot say for sure that the entire season will take place in Philadelphia. But when we consider that even the character names have been changed, we can see that the producers are adapting the book to the present day, instead of copying it exactly. I do not think this is a bad thing. As long as they keep the core mystery of the book, updating some locations and old political details may help the story work better on screen. Honestly, my biggest expectation from the 4th season is that Reacher's detective side will be used strongly again. One of the reasons I loved the 2nd season so much was that it really made us feel Reacher's relationship with his old unit and the bond between them. In the 3rd season, there were good action scenes and a very impressive opponent like Paulie, but the overall story was not as strong as the 2nd season for me. Gone Tomorrow places Reacher in a more isolated position where he constantly has to figure out who is telling the truth, knows he is being watched, and is forced to analyze the people in front of him. I think this kind of dark and mysterious story could really suit Alan Ritchson's version of Reacher. In the cast, Alan Ritchson naturally returns as Jack Reacher. Christopher Rodriguez Marquette will play Jacob Merrick, a small-town police officer. Jacob has a personal connection to the woman who dies on the subway, and during the investigation, he will become one of Reacher's most important allies. Sidel Noel will also appear as Philadelphia police detective Tamara Green. At first, Tamara may question why Reacher is getting so deeply involved in this case, but when she realizes the investigation is getting bigger and bigger, she is expected to work alongside him. Detective Doherty, played by Kevin Corrigan, will also be Tamara's partner in the police department. On the political side of the story, there is Congressman John Sampson, played by Mark Blucas. Kathleen Robertson will appear as his wife, Elsbeth Sampson. Kevin Wiseman will play Russell Plum, a journalist working in Washington, while Agnes Mo and Angun will play Lila Hoth and her mother, Amisha Hoth. I especially think Lila and Amisha will be among the most mysterious characters of the season. These two women claim to have information about a secret military incident from the past, but Reacher begins to notice inconsistencies in the story they tell. So throughout the season, we will be trying to understand whether the people in front of us are truly victims or part of the conspiracy. It was initially announced that Jay Baruchel would play the character Jacob Merrick, but the actor had to leave the project because of a personal matter. Later, the role was given to Christopher Rodriguez Marquette. For now, the only name officially confirmed to return from previous seasons is Alan Ritchson. It has not been confirmed that Maria Sten will appear as Neagley in the 4th season, and Neagley is not in the source novel either. So it is very possible they may not add her to the main story. Still, considering the bond between Reacher and Neagley, I would like the producers to have prepared a small surprise. But right now, we cannot say that as confirmed information. If we look at the source novel, a very brutal and personal confrontation may be waiting for us at the end of the season. In Gone Tomorrow, Reacher is constantly watched, kidnapped, threatened, and pulled into a very ruthless final battle where he is badly wounded. Of course, there is no guarantee that the show will use every event from the book in the same way. Since some names and locations have already been changed, we may also see differences in the finale. But if they keep the book's core structure, Season 4 could offer much more than a single fight against one big guy. This time, Reacher's real enemy will not be one person he can punch. It will be political power, secret information, and many people hiding their identities. When Reacher's Season 4 finale is released on September 16, we will not take a break from this universe, because on the same day, all 8 episodes of the Neagley series will be added to Prime Video. So right after watching Reacher's finale, we will be able to move directly into Frances Neagley's independent story. Honestly, this spin-off excites me at least as much as the 4th season, because after Reacher, my favorite character in the show was definitely Neagley. Her calmness, intelligence, the way she analyzes people, and the fact that she can be just as dangerous as Reacher when necessary always made the character feel different. That is why I am genuinely happy that her own series is being made. In the new series, Frances Neagley will once again be played by Maria Sten. Neagley is now working as a private investigator in Chicago and living her own life independently from Reacher. But when she learns that a close friend from her past has died in a suspicious accident, she does not believe it was just a simple accident. Neagley starts her own investigation to find those responsible and uses every method she learned from Reacher, the military, and her years in the 110th Special Investigations Unit. As the investigation moves forward, she discovers that her friend's death is connected to a much bigger and more dangerous organization than she first thought. The first season of Neagley will not be adapted from any Lee Child book. This story was written completely for the show, because even though there are important adventures in the books where Neagley appears, there is no independent novel that puts only her at the center. At first, this may seem a little risky, because every season of Reacher has a strong source book they can use. With Neagley, the creative team has to build the story from scratch. But I also think this could be a big advantage, because without being limited by a book, they can show Neagley's past, personal life, and how she works when Reacher is not beside her in much greater detail. One of the things that interests me the most about the show is that Neagley's fear of being touched will finally be explained. Neagley is extremely uncomfortable with other people touching her, and we saw this trait several times in the Reacher series, but we never fully learned the reason behind it. The producers say that the source of Neagley's haphophobia will be one of the main stories of the first season. While investigating her friend's death, she will also have to face things that happened in her own past. I think this is a very good decision because instead of presenting Neagley as just a female version of Reacher who beats people up, it can turn her into a more complex and unique character. In the spin-off, Neagley will have a new and permanent group of characters around her. Grayston Holt will play Detective Hudson Riley. At first, Neagley will see Riley as either an obstacle in front of her investigation or someone she can use to reach the information she needs. But as they work together, it is said that the relationship between them will begin to change. Adeline Rudolph will play Renee Birdwhistle, while Jasper Jones will appear as Keno. These characters are planned to stay around Neagley in future seasons as well. This shows that the spin-off will build a more stable and continuous world instead of changing the entire cast every season. On the villain side of the story, we have Pierce Woodrow, played by Matthew Del Negro, and Lawrence Cole, played by Damon Harriman. The producers revealed that we will encounter 2 different groups of villains in the first season. We also know that there is a mysterious cult in the story, and some events taking place underground. It has not yet been revealed how the cult is connected to the murdered friend or where Woodrow and Cole stand within this organization. But I think a personal murder investigation slowly turning into a cult conspiracy could be a very interesting first-season story for Neagley. And the answer to what is probably the biggest question many people are wondering about is also clear. Jack Reacher will really appear in this show. It has been officially confirmed that Alan Ritchson will guest star in the spin-off. However, we still do not know how many episodes he will appear in or how he will become involved in Neagley's story. Reacher could appear only in a short scene, help Neagley at a critical moment, or appear in flashback scenes showing the days of the 110th unit. Honestly, I am glad Reacher will be in the show, but I do not want him to take over the whole story. After all, this is Neagley's show, and we need to see that the character can carry her own story without Reacher. This will be the most important thing that separates the Neagley show from the main series. Because Reacher is constantly traveling. Every season he goes to a new city, meets new people, and leaves almost all of them behind by the end of the season. Neagley, on the other hand, lives a settled life in Chicago, so she will be able to develop longer relationships with characters like Hudson Riley, Renee, and Keno. That way, we can watch not just a character solving the crime of the week, but a lead character who changes through the people around her and grows over time. The fact that the producers are preparing Neagley's world in a way that could continue for multiple seasons also suggests that this show is not being seen as a one-season experiment. Overall, 2026 is going to be a really exciting year for the Reacher universe. I still see the second season as my favorite season, and because I found the third season a little weaker compared to the others, I especially want the fourth season to deliver a stronger story again. I think Gone Tomorrow's dark political conspiracy fits Reacher very well. Alongside that, the fact that Neagley, my second favorite character, is finally getting her own show is a very nice surprise for me. I hope this spin-off does not become an ordinary side story made only to benefit from Reacher's success, and that it can truly show us why Neagley is such a beloved character. So, what do you expect from Reacher Season 4? Do you think the fourth season can be as strong as the second season, or did you like the style of the third season more? Do you think giving Neagley her own show is the right decision, and how much should Jack Reacher appear in the spin-off? Definitely share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you do not miss new videos about Reacher and Neagley. See you in the next video.